and welcome to the Sound Life NHL20 BGM mode. I'm gonna first off talk about how I conduct my BGM modes. I go off of real life simulation, meaning nothing is fake. All my trades are real life. Um, if a trade does come up and it is very one-sided in my way, and it doesn't make sense in terms of real life, that player leaving that team, etc., etc., if you know what I mean. Um, so I'll just have to walk away from it and say, you know what, that doesn't make sense. I would rather make the game be fair and build a team as if I am the actual GM, meaning as if I'm actually Bill Guerin of the Minnesota Wild. So yeah, this year I am choosing the Minnesota Wild, and they are a team with a brand new GM, Bill Guerin. So I am the new Bill Guerin. Every year when I do pick a team, it is a team that does have a new GM starting this season. Meaning, so I would, but usually the team that needs to either rebuild or roster reshape, one of the two. This year I would say I'll be going with the roster reshape with the Minnesota Wild. This is just based off we have incoming players like Kirill Kaprizov, and um, we have a decor that is built to win. The goaltending, it's so Devin Dubnyk. I don't feel like we will need to. He'll be the future here. Um, the goaltending will be shaped depending on where we finish in the standings. I am a guy who is interested in drafting goalies. Um, I'm not afraid about drafting a goalie in the first round. This year there's a very good goalie that we'll get to in further episodes, um, that I will be targeting. And yeah, so when we look at the goalies, Devin Dubnyk, I don't think he'll be staying around with us for a long time. At 33, he could be with us for 2 years, dependent on what we do. With my goalies, I might look at a goalie like Tristan Jarry or an Alexander Gorgiev, um, just because I do see those goalies being future goalies, but that is dependent on where I am in the off season. So let's get back to the roster here. Eric Stahl, I don't see him being with us in the very, maybe the long-term future. I would say no, but the short-term future, he could stay around for long, for the future. 2 years, okay. So he'll stay with us for 2 years. Sorry, my mind is just messing up my speech. Um, yeah, my thought process. So Mikko Koivu, in the description, I asked whether I should trade him to a contender or not. I'm thinking I will. Let's give him a chance at the end of his career to be in the playoffs and try and win, as Minnesota's been stuck in the same spot. I know their owner is very, very stubborn, and he doesn't want to rebuild or start being near ending up near the bottom of the table at the end of the year. And it's starting to bite him a bit in the ass, because you're making moves and quick time moves on guys like Victor Rask, who I will say is not staying around for a long time. Only problem is he has 2 years after this year, and it's going to be very hard to get rid of him. And he is a buyout eligible player on the Minnesota roster for the Sound Life. I like Joel Eriksson. I see him with us for a very long time. Same thing with Luke Kunin. Ryan Donato too. Just the thing is, they can't all stay around, but at the moment I do have to say I will be holding on to them. Zach Parise, hard sell, hard contract. 35 years old, hoping he retires soon, to be honest with you. I'd love to hold on to him for the next 2 years, and I'll have to look at the budget first, but I would say it wouldn't be harmful to keep on to him for the roster. It wouldn't hurt, but not much to do with him other than keep him. Jason Zucker, 3 years after this year, 27 years old, scores. At the moment, I have simulated 2 around this time. It's about 2 days forward from today, so in 2 days. He's not scoring like he is in real life. Not a lot of the guys on the team are. It fluctuates. Like Kevin Fiala is a minus 17 or something like that. I could keep on it, could hold on to him. He has the potential for us, but on that left wing, I wanna keep Kevin Fiala long term. I have interest in Jason Zucker. A Pittsburgh trade could happen. In real life, it could. I've heard rumbles of it happen, and Rutherford likes players with term. Marcus Foligno, he's not going to be around with us for a long time. He could go this summer. He'll stay for the rest of the season. He has 1 more year after this. Could play with us. But Jordan Greenway, this is a guy I'm very high on. 22 years old. We're gonna re-sign him. He's an RFA at the end of the year. 6'6", 227, huge. And then Zuccarello, we're gonna have to bite our lip and go through this contract a couple of years at least. I'm not gonna buy that out. That's for sure. He has game in him still, so we'll have to see. And then Ryan Hartman, a year after this. He's having a relatively good year, the best at the moment. He's looking like he's having the best season of his career. But I don't see him being on my Minnesota team long term. So you got Ryan Suter, Matt Dumba long term, Jason Spurgeon long term, Jared Spurgeon, Jonas Brodin. I'd say he's a tradable asset. And I wouldn't say this season, but I would say next year's trade deadline. He'll be 27 then. Top 4 defenseman. I've been keen on him since he came in the league, so I feel like I'll get quite a good return for him next year. Here's the interesting thing about Brad Hunt. What I've noticed is throughout the simulation until now, I've had at least 8 trade offers that involve him. Just a year after this, a sexy term, a league minimum, 1 way, and can play. But for me, not so much. So he's a tradable asset. He's gonna go. Greg Pattern's gonna go, and Kirsten Soucy, he will could re-sign him, but I see him as a Iowa Wild defenseman for most of his career, if not anywhere else. So that's where I'm gonna start and talking about my team. And then let's go to the prospects, because this is where I'm more or less excited to get into it with you guys. Let's go to UFA. This guy right here. He'll be a Minnesota Wild player next season for me. Kirill Kaprizov. Sure, all you know about him. I did put him in the Czech League. He's playing with Askarov. So I picked the HC Vitkovice as the CSKA Moscow in the game, because you kind of have to just fake it with it in this, with no KHL. And you see something real. You see something there. I will plug him in the second line next season. But until then, until the end of the season, we won't get too much into it with him. So, with my prospects, I don't see a huge prospect pool for myself. That's why I also like this team. As I explain it, it's a weak prospect pool. It's a reshapeable roster. I still have high value assets, and it's a new team with a new GM, and that's me. That's on life. So that's what makes me excited about this team. I can build it with my own prospects while still having liquidity and young players like Jordan Greenway, Luke Kunin, Joel Eriksson Ek, who otherwise would be playing anywhere else. I don't know what that made no sense. I'm sorry. I'm just loving looking at this. So, Alexander Kovenov, he's going to be a high-end player for myself. He's a top 3 prospect. Ivan Lodnia, I don't know why they couldn't let me send him to the Erie Otters, but he's just sitting out in the game this season, obviously. William Bitton, huge prospect. Guskov, high-end Guskov. And there's not much else. Nico Stern, I'll keep around. I like German players. I don't see him being anything special. But beyond those 4 players in Kaprizov, Kovenov, Bitton, Lodnov, and 5, Guskov. There's not much for me. I mean, Adam Beckham, actually, I would say I'm pretty high on this guy too in real life. He's killing it in the WHL at the moment, and I see him being huge for us. But I mean, I'm not for us. I would say for Bill Guerin himself. I think he's gonna turn into something. I don't think he'll develop into something. For me, he could. But for Bill Guerin, for sure, I think he's going to be quite the player. And good on him. Had quite the summer, obviously. And with my goalies, there's Hunter Jones. He's the only real goaltending prospect I see the Minnesota Wild having. I'm gonna give him a chance for sure. We'll have to see. He's got the size. He second round playing with the Petes. Go Petes. Nicholas Robertson, killing it. World Juniors right now. And I'm very disappointed because this player right here should be the goaltender for the Canadian World Junior team. What? Politics takes over. So yeah, that's my shape. That's my real first plan, just to talk about the shape of how I see my roster shaping out. My first plan is going to be bringing in a young center at the end in this off season. I have potential names top of my mind that I won't talk about in this episode with you, but I will get into it about Mikko Koivu. So Mikko Koivu, Minnesota Wild royalty. He's been there his whole career. I wanna keep him. I just feel like for my team and the way I would manage a team, I feel like it's time to get rid of him. He'd be a nice rental for your team trying to go to the cup, and why not give him the chance at the end of his career? If he doesn't retire, we sign him to a 1-year deal, put him on that third line, and get a young center on a winning team that he isn't getting much more of a third line chance with, because the depth is just not gonna crack that top six with a team like maybe a Tampa or a Toronto or a Boston, where young players that could be at the top just aren't, and that's fine, because I'm going to shape a Minnesota Wild team that no one will expect out of someone who puts a GMO together, because let me tell you, the Sun Life does it differently. So yeah, if you are watching this, if you are a viewer and you do want to interact, please give me your thoughts on what I should do with Mikko Koivu. I've had offers, plenty of offers, and I feel like I should just pull the plug on him and send him to a winner. At the moment, we're in a wild card spot, and we will hold on to him. The Minnesota Wild do have a chance to make the playoffs this year. They also don't. It's very tight at the moment, and this is a time to win. We're winning the game at the moment, at least. I'm hoping, to be honest with you, not to make the playoffs. I have a plan. There are prospects. There's one prospect I do want to get in the first round this year that I do have my eye on, and I'm very high on. Obviously, there are very good prospects like Alexis Lafreniere, or say a Quentin Byfield, Cole Perfetti, Alexander Holtz, or Lucas Raymond, a Tim Stutzel, Yaroslav Askarov, all good players. The Anton Lundells, the Marco Rossi's, the Antonio Stranges, very good players. There was one name in those players, not including Alexis Lafreniere, that I am very high on, and if I didn't have the first pick to get Alexis Lafreniere and I had a second pick or third pick, I would pick this player any day of the week. So we'll get into prospects in a later episode. So if anyone can give me any thoughts on what they should think on what I should do with Mikko Koivu, any thoughts on what teams I should trade him to, offers I should potentially put together. At the beginning of episode 2, I will give you my thoughts on what trade offers and packages I think are valid and I see as potential trade offers to send and make. There's a lot of trade offers that are made through the find the trade section. Say if I go to him at the moment, say find trade, doesn't even second guess it. Montreal is very high on him. They've sent me Evans or Josh Brooks with these second round picks, which makes no sense to me. Would not make, like I said, okay, yeah, 2/4. I like Josh Brooks. Do you think it would be a 1-for-1? I don't think so. I don't even think he should go for Mikko Koivu. I think Mikko Koivu should go for a second round pick. Not first. He's a 36-year-old. You know, potentially like talk. No, it's just too good of a prospect. So yeah, if you can get back to me on that. And yeah, this is my first episode. Might sound dull, just trying to get into it. But yeah, I'm gonna simulate a little bit more through for this, and see where we're at. I say once I get to game around 50, I'd say around 2 weeks before the trade deadline, I'll get back to you guys with episode 2. When we get there, we'll start talking more about prospects, and that's when a Mikko Koivu trade could potentially go down, and which makes sense for us, and also give me more of an idea of where the team's going to be going into the off season. Will we make the playoffs? Won't we? If we don't, we're in the draft where we'll be ending up. If we do make the playoffs, what is our plan then? Are we going to start trading for rentals, or are we just going to stay on put and see what happens? So many directions, so many options. Either way, if any of you want to get back to me, please do. Tell me what you think. There's a lot more I can put into this, and I will put into this. Just testing the waters with it, because I do this every year, and you know what, I might as well put together and share with everyone, because I feel like some of you will actually quite enjoy what I do with this Minnesota Wild team. So thank you. Subscribe to the Song Life, and I hope everyone's having a great night.